right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back here to Kicking It With Knuble, episode 2. Mike, we are back. A lot of last week, what we talked about going into the rookie games and the rookie series, you were spot on. And so we'll get to that in a minute. How are you, Mike?
I'm good. You brought me back for another one, at least. Day 2, we doubled it. We doubled our output.
Yeah,
here. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Each week, Mike, we're just gonna go week by week, and soon we'll be at like 100 episodes, and we'll be like, "Holy shit, that flew by really fast."
Yeah, only 98 more to go. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, so going into the rookie games, Mike, you were spot on. I think you called that pretty perfectly. When I was watching that game Friday night, I said to myself, I was like, "Holy shit!" I think Mike kind of, had like a magic 8 ball that he was kind of had like under his desk as we were doing the episode, because it was like spot on. It was physical. It was like a total gong show, and 𝐊𝐷𝐄𝐒 looked really good. And I think every guy on the Rangers was over 6 foot, and I think they did that on purpose.
Yeah, like I said, they're just a little unorganized, and like the kind of the toughness thing has kind of gone away, where they were crazy, and it was really hard for the staffs to evaluate what actually happened during the game. But there is some, you have continuity issues where somebody's watching a game might be like, "It wasn't a really good game," and guys are, maybe not looking so like a little disconnected, and neutral zones. They might be heading up ice when the D is going back and just not like moving together as groups and stuff. So,
Right.
But they are where they are, and like I said, they've calmed down a lot, and you can get some observation out of it and see things. And again, for some guys, it's kind of getting the cobwebs out, getting the rust off, and get a couple of nerves out too. Frankly, just get out there, get skating, and get back into it. And it always catches you a little bit as a player when you haven't been playing competitively. The pace is really fast, right? And it starts to, it kind of catches you a little bit, not a little bit off guard, but some guys, it takes some. Some guys it takes a period, sometimes it takes 2 periods, some takes a couple of games to get up to speed. So you get a little bit of everything, I think, in those games.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I feel like, too, the one thing that I noticed the most was just how, like, it's always hard for me to kind of pinpoint, like, what to take out of those games for guys, because some guys, it's their first game since, like, April, May. And that's like their first like legit like game, not like a scrimmage or anything in the summer. Like it's like a first like legit hockey game that they're playing. And some guys they just don't perform well. Like I remember last year, like the big thing was you had Forrester, you had Brink, guys that are now on the Flyers roster, and I was like, all right, well, let's see what those guys do. And they just didn't look good. Like it was just like they kind of just were like getting through it and just kind of sludging along. And exactly like what you were saying with 𝐊𝐷𝐄𝐒, was like, don't try to get your hopes up. I tried. It was very hard because he looks really good. He had a goal, missed a shootout attempt at the post. I don't know if you saw any of the clips or anything, Mike, but he had a really good game. Power play wise, it looked like I was watching 2 completely different power plays from Friday and Saturday, because 𝐊𝐿𝐄𝐒 didn't play on Saturday. Overall, I thought the whole weekend was good for the Flyers. Friday's game was a lot more. I think people were more into that one, obviously, because 𝐊𝐿𝐄𝐒 was playing and all that, and just like they ended up playing a lot better. They had, I think, 41 shots Friday night and had like 20, finished like 26 on Saturday. So Saturday's game wasn't great because it was just like, again, kind of like what I was saying. Like that's just like a hard way to get back into the season. You go back to back. That's 7 o'clock and then 5 o'clock the next day. But outside of that, like 𝐊𝐿𝐄𝐒 looked good. Was there anything that you kind of noticed, or just like, his game and things like that? And just like, it felt like a really, really early preview of kind of like what this season could be for 𝐊𝐿𝐄𝐒.
Yeah, those games, I mean, he scores a 5-on-3 goal, probably going to be like a lot of his bread and butter. That's kind of, that'll be his easiest time on the ice, right? Being in those power play situations. And then, as far as the Friday night game, everybody comes in a little bit, like say they're like, hot to trot, ready to go, and kind of shot out of the cannon. And then, Saturday it's tough to go back to back, And so again, these things are they're really hard to see how people do. And, it's, as a player, you like to be, excited if you have a great game, and moving forward and use that for your momentum. if you feel like you didn't have a great game, you don't want it to drag you down either. So,
Right.
but like you say, it's a good chance to get guys. It's hard to say. I mean, the scouting staffs know who these guys are. They know what they do. They've been watching for years and watching them develop and stuff. So they know what they know what they're capable of and stuff. And sometimes some guys get their show on both sides, on that night. And as we mentioned before, there's guys sometimes, you wish guys were a little bit better at learning how to try out for something and play a little bit more desperate, because and try and get yourself noticed. I think it's one of the big things of those games is you've got to get noticed for something,
Yeah.
you want to, but you do have to get noticed for doing something, whether it's being physical or skating real well, doing something to attract eyes to you, and sometimes back in the day that was fighting or something, but again, like I said, most of it's just kids, just getting loose for camp and getting up to speed again, and trying to get yourself through those games. A couple guys are just trying to get through them too. They don't really want to be there either.
Right.
And it's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah. Okay. So we have the rookie series that ends, and now we're into training camp. Torts has the rope out today, the rope that I think he's had since Tampa in like early 2000s. Have you ever gone through anything that is like a Torts camp in terms of like the skating and like a mental test to start a training camp?
Yeah, I know. I think over time it's changed because, and also like training camp's a lot quicker now, right? So a lot of training camp was used to get guys into shape, and they test them and run them and try and like mess with them a little bit in their brain, a little bit in their heads, to try and do that. In Detroit, we ran around Joe Louis Arena, down by the Detroit River, and you have these time things around the parking lot, and a lot of guys didn't really care for that. And veteran guys would just bitch. They would just bitch. They'd be like, "Are we across country?" They felt it was funny because they didn't feel the acceptance of working out was not quite what it is today, right? So guys are in shape like 12 months of the year, and they come into camp and flying. And back in the day, it was like, guys would go, "You want me to bench 135 pounds? You want me to score 30 goals?" They saw no correlation between the two, and like that's really, quite frankly, before the money took off. But anyway, so as it's come through, it's kind of gotten away from being the off ice stuff because guys were really complaining and getting hurt, and now you're slowing guys down from a good training camp. But with the compression of training camp, probably since 2004, I think the technology of these workouts has really changed too. There's a lot of diagnosis trying to do instant VO2s. I know Philly, we had backpacks, and so now you're doing that. Your nose is plugged. You're breathing through your mouth, which is super uncomfortable regardless. If anybody's ever done those tests, but now you're doing it up and down the ice, which is super uncomfortable. And taking blood before you're testing, taking blood after, measuring the difference in your blood, your lactic acid. It's gotten a lot more scientific. But some of them, I guess some of the ones I remember more would be like you're on a pace, like with a buzzer that goes, and then you got to be down there by a certain time, and it's easy at first, and it just starts to get increasingly harder, and they might tighten up the time a little bit. But I think my last one, I think I was 39 or so, and there's a big one in Washington. It was like double down and back, so you had to get in by a certain time. And Ovi was the guy. I just made sure I somehow was with his group, and I just made sure I stayed with him, and then was able to pass him. And that was always something I could do all day. I kind of skated at a decent speed all day. And other guys would get down the ice quicker, but they didn't have that. They wanted all their testing was like a little bit longer over time. It wasn't like here to there. It's not like a 15-yard sprint. It's more like doing a 300
kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like a longer process, maybe 50 seconds. So like a 50-second shift. Right. And so sometimes bigger guys can have a little. You're not moving your legs as much, and you have you're carrying more of a load, but you keep going. But it's they're and Torts is infamous for his. I'd love to see it. I haven't seen it on video. I'd love to watch the whole process and see what it is. And see how tough
he literally just ties the rope to both posts, and they just skate around it. And it's so grueling to watch because the guys are just like they're just like dead by the end of it. Like there's nothing left.
I want to see it. I hope somebody posts it today. I hope somebody, I'd love to see it, but I think coaches have a fine line there because you're trying to make your point about your test. Like, we're going to be a fast skating team. It's going to be a hard team. I'm a hard coach. We're going to be skaters. And then, all of a sudden you create 2 or 3 groin problems that nag a guy through training camp, right? And,
Right.
if it's the wrong person, if it's the wrong person that goes down, it's, it's hard to evaluate. It's hard. Now you got to adjust everything, but that quite possibly could open up a door for somebody else. So there's always a fine line as a coach, how hard you want to push that. But if you got one that gets the guy's brain a little bit, nothing wrong with that. I'm still good with that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Danny Briere had a press conference on the 17th the other day. He mentioned a lot of things, and I think obviously the whole thing with 𝐊𝐂, we talked about that last episode. That's still kind of going on. Obviously, we're not going to rehash all of that, but that was one of the big things from the other day. For me, Mike, one of the biggest things that comes out of this is most of the guys coming into the season that are healthy. Every guy you could essentially want to be healthy for the Flyers. We mentioned 𝐊𝐍𝐷 last episode. He's coming into the season healthy. 𝐊𝐔𝐑, which I'll mention a couple things on Coots in a minute. He's coming into the season healthy. And Rasmus Ristolainen, guy who played 31 games last year, he's coming into the season healthy too. That's the one main advantage the Flyers have right now, is at least they have a lot of guys coming into the season healthy, and you don't necessarily have to worry about the injuries and all that right now.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the summer, right? And you get everybody prepared and patched up, and I think guys like 𝐊𝐷 came in on a trade, and then maybe was kind of playing with a bad deck of cards, like he just wasn't quite 100%, and it's really hard because you kind of come in with some big expectations, and then you're not playing with your full deck or whatever cliche you want to use, but. So it's a good summer to kind of get, healthy and working out again and ready to go and kind of recharge and all that. And I think that's just such a huge question. It just seems to be like the biggest hindrance to really taking another step forward is key injuries. Now everybody has injuries, right? But it seems like the ones that get through and the ones that make playoffs really can either absorb or avoid those injuries, or B, really absorb them with depth, right? And so you kind of wonder, it's if a guy or two does go down here, who's now you're relying more on American guys, and again, it depends on the right or wrong guy to go down, and it starts to get thin pretty quick. So again, it's those guys like can they stay Ristolainen and 𝐊𝐷? Are they going to be healthy right from the start? Or are they going to be able to log their amount of minutes, log the amount of games, and that's a big deal right out of the gate. So staying healthy is always huge.
Yeah, no, 100%, and especially too, Mike, because the Flyers aren't as deep as some of the other teams, where if one of those bigger guys goes out, they're kind of screwed because they don't have anyone else. You know what I mean? So the Flyers actually have they have some good problems. They have a lot of guys on wing. They have this kind of battle in net for who can take it, and they have depth in majority of positions really outside of center, but when you look at just where the whole kind of roster and kind of lineup, if they are healthy, they look like a pretty solid team on paper, but that's the thing, they're just not going to be healthy all year, and that's obviously because like you were saying, that's just how an NHL season is. You play 82 games, it's grueling, and then once the Flyers for some reason just always have some sort of bad luck. One of your teammates went through it in one of the biggest ways with Peter Forsberg. Just couldn't stay healthy with the foot injury. Couldn't get a skate to fit in the whole thing, and obviously that hindered that whole season for the Flyers. Just kind of going off that, you have Briere also mentioned Matvei Michkov, who will get different line combinations throughout camp. So I actually really like that, if I'm being totally honest, because you get to see a guy with his skill, or one day he could be playing with Owen Tippett, the next day he's with Tyson Forrester, then maybe after that he's with Travis Konecny, and so on and so forth. That's one of the biggest things, and I like that because they're trying to experiment, see what you can do there. I know we had the question last episode about him being at center. I don't think the Flyers are going to try that, maybe, but I doubt it. I feel like it's probably better if you have that guy with that skill, just kind of leave him at his best natural position. But thoughts on Michkov here, just kind of thrown all around camp?
Well, yeah, you like him to play with a lot of players, right? And because you don't know what he is yet over here, and and how he plays, and is he actually good at getting pucks in North America? Can he go dig out his own pucks? Does he need somebody to go get pucks for him? Is he defensively responsible? These are all kinds of things that Torts will kind of find out. Now, on his side, on his flip side, and a lot of teams get a lot more input from the players. It's not so much like your way, my way being the coach or the highway, and I'm going to tell you who you're playing with. After a couple of weeks and it gets to know players and maybe play a couple exhibition games, it might be like, I've seen a lot of coaches now. Who do you really like playing with? Who do you feel like? Who do you see eye to eye with? And I think we've all been there. I've always played with guys who be like, man, we just seem to work well together. And you can tell that he likes working with you. You can tell you work with him. You might be a shooter and he might be more of a passer, and there's good chemistry there, or he knows that you're good at winning battles. You're going to go get pucks for him, and just you kind of figure out how many ways you could compliment a guy. And I'm sure after 2 weeks over here, he'll have a good idea of who's who. And I think, as a player, you kind of figure out each guy in your lineup and who you really want to play with and who you like. There's some guys you're like, man, I can't. That guy, we're just like oil and I don't know, what is it, oil and water? We just don't combine at all.
Yeah,
it's like we just don't. And then other guys, you just seem to blend and they seem to complement each other. And so he'll figure that out, who that is, and they'll be tasked with, and that's where you like a veteran guy, maybe like a Couturier, and then there's a veteran guy who's tasked with bringing this guy along. So it's
right.
I think it's happened ever since the beginning of time, where you get a good young player, Ovechkin and Crosby, and who's going to gel with them and who can work with them and who he likes working with. So that'll be interesting to see. And it may take 2 weeks, it may take 2 months, but they'll figure it out over time. Yeah.
And that's the best thing, I think, Mike, for this, is that you don't have to know that answer right now. You know what I mean? You can take, and obviously, you don't have to, you obviously can't take forever, but you have to, you have a lot of time to figure this out, because right now, and it's been publicly said by Torts, by Jonesy, and I'm sure Briere he said it the other day, that they have a lot of dead money. And this year is kind of just like a get through that period. It's kind of just like a, it feels like, it honestly just feels like they're just trying to kind of get through these couple of contracts and just kind of go from there, and just have the 𝐊𝐷𝐄𝐒 hype kind of mask them not really doing anything this summer. I think that kind of played really well for them. And one of the biggest things this year is can they improve? Briere mentioned it. He said, our goal is to compete. Hopefully some of our players can take what they did last year and continue to improve. Do you think they finished with more than 87 points this year, or do you think they're going to finish with less?
Well, you hope so. I mean, for a couple of things. One, you like Danny touched on, you hope that guys have improved.
Yeah.
Guys are maturing, getting bigger and stronger. And then two, just getting everybody healthy, right? And again, if you stay healthy, that'd be the best thing that could happen to your team, when you have all your, you have all your resources out on the ice every day versus in the training room. So, yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, like trying to get through a year. The 𝐊𝐷𝐄𝐒 has been a nice distraction this summer and giving some, something to build on here, right? And come in and again, is he, there's some good rookies that are coming out this year. If he doesn't win Rookie of the Year, it's not a failure or anything like that. Nobody's saying, you want this guy being here for the next 10, 12 years and being
exactly
a different player. So if it doesn't blow the doors off the place the first year, it's not a time to panic or anything like that. The kid's going to be 20 years old next year, playing, and so there's no reason to panic in that respect. But I do think that, having a little more, I'm just kind of looking at some notes on some players over here, but you talk about some guys, especially like Farabee, Frost, those guys that, I don't know, you're kind of there, the Bobby Brinks, you need that competition, you need some more competition here. And these guys got to compete more. And it's too bad they're not a couple more veterans in this mix here, because that would really eliminate some of these spots, and really then you get the competition amongst these guys. It's almost like there's too many spots for young guys right now for them to land and kind of come, and they do have them come and go a bit. I mean, there's competition in that respect, but it seems like sometimes you get guys that are kind of the same type of player, and you like a little more diversity in your lineup. But like looking at Farabee and Frost, their numbers, they're basically half point a game, same penalty minutes, same minus totals pretty much, and same percentage. And one's 24 and one's 25, right? I mean, they're pretty pretty darn close to each other. One makes a big, Farabee makes probably twice as much money too. So, is that going to be something, are we getting, can you say, are we getting the same production out of somebody who we're overpaying here to not overpay, but who's making more money that we could, move and use that money for something else. And so, I mean, I'm just, just spitballing or whatever, but it's, you love to see this competition, amongst the guys and competing for spots. But like you said, if they, there's like a lot of the same level player, and it's, you like a little more, diversity in the lineup here.
Right.
I mean, the fourth line's a fourth line, but then everybody else kind of seems to be blended together a little bit.
Exactly, and I think too, just going off Farabee and Frost, I'm just about to ask you about them. Those are two guys that, if you look in Farabee's case, obviously he really both these guys, they had, major injuries that took them out for pretty much a whole season. Farabee got the surgery and everything, but couldn't really work out in the summer. And that was the big thing. And he literally just went season to season and didn't add any muscle, didn't do any of that. Like, he just was the exact same physical as a human. He was still the exact same way. In terms of like Frost, I mean, he had the shoulder injury, was out for the whole year, bounced around the AHL a little bit after that, just coming back, I think, from, trying to not like learn how to play hockey again, but I think you get what I'm saying. Both of those guys, they kind of went through that. Now it's that time. And I think Briere mentioned that the other day. Like, these are two guys that you really need to explode this year. The one guy I look at is Farabee, who had a really good first half and not so great of a second half, and kind of really tailed off. And as for Frost, like, he's another one. I mean, it's two guys. And again, I like the fact that Briere is putting faith in them. He was like, sometimes we kind of forget that these guys are 24, 25, which still I think kind of plays into the same token of like, kind of like what you were saying and what I was saying as well. Like, they don't really need to be there yet. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you don't want to keep paying guys like Joel Farabee $5 million and the most he puts up is 50 points. You know what I mean? Especially when, like you were saying, you have so much similar things with the lineup and all that too. So it'll be interesting. I think those are two guys that you have to really kind of keen on this year.
And I think there's nothing wrong with, like, should Danny, talk about them and single them out a little bit. It's not, not challenge. I mean, as a player, you're constantly trying to get better and trying to stay in the league and trying to improve yourself, and quite honestly, I mean, those are kind of big time injuries, and that's development time when you're going through those when you're 22, 23, 24 years old. Those are big, like, those are chunks of time where you don't get, you miss a summer of lifting and getting stronger, developing your body, or you miss a huge chunk of the season, you basically lose a whole season pro, because you're injured. Those are tough to, deal with. At that age, you got to be as fit as you can be and playing as many games as you can. And so it's, for that development purpose. So it's, it's, they haven't had an easy go of it yet, so you wish them luck, they're like, the God's got to give us some luck here too, like, keep us healthy and let us, improve and put some good, get some good time on ice and good, let us finish the season in one piece here. So that's, it's important as a young player. So maybe if that happens, they can take another step forward here.
Yeah. Okay. Flyers will start the preseason here on Sunday. Capitals on Sunday at 3:00. Canadians Monday. Hockey season's it's right around the corner, Mike. This will be exciting. I got some preseason games. Any last thoughts before we move on?
No, but again, it's it's getting these guys getting their feet under themselves, and it's always an interesting time of the season where you quick jam in 6-7 games, and there'll be guys that play a lot of games, and a lot of guys that might get one, and there's some guys that might get 1 or 2 or 3, and then other guys who don't get any. So I remember my first camp, I played in 8 games. I think we played 9 altogether. I played 8 games. I had no points. I was -8. I couldn't get to that around that quick enough. I'm like, I need to get out of here. Like, I was just getting murdered at the NHL level. So you come out of there, and in times, you love to have some surprises if you were a GM, and and you can stick around. I mean, there's be some battles for 7-8D. So if I was a defenseman, on these bubbles, there's probably 3 or 4 young guys. Maybe, it's your goal to try and make that roster. So all you can do is, is be good in your inter-squad games, and then when you get your chance to play, like, again, we talked earlier, be noticeable for something. make people talk about you one way or another. So, don't be conservative, and you get out there and you've got to go and do what you've always done. But have fun and just play as hard as you can. Sounds easy. So somebody who played for Florida and Montreal. I'm going to say 𝐊𝐔𝐘𝐒 there.
𝐊𝐶𝐘𝐒? Okay.
Kovalev?
I'll go last name. I can't spell. 𝐊𝐔𝐘𝐒 right here, 92-13. Yep. There we go. Nice.
Right? Oh.
Did Briere score 20 with Florida?
Did who?
Pavel Briere.
Oh, of course he did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think so. Yeah. 12. Damn.
Red Wing and 20 goals. I mean, you could go Yzerman, Shanahan, Fedorov. Go Fedorov. We'll go all Russians here.
Okay.
20+ in Red Wings. Yeah.
You said Fedorov?
Yeah.
Okay. 4%. Capital had scored 20. Did you score 20 in Washington?
Yeah, a bunch of times, a couple times.
With the Caps?
Yeah, oh yeah. 29 and 24 or something like that.
Bang. There we go.
Boom.
0.9 too.
Is that a percentage of people that say that? That's good.
Yeah, so it's like the lower percentage is the better score. So we right now have a uniqueness of 18. So
you want
lower?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so like the lower uniqueness, the better. Not like the better the score is, but it just it just looks better overall. Capitals, Canadians.
Oh, Jose Theodore.
Oh, good one.
Or Roman Hammerlick.
Oh, that would probably be better.
HAMR.
There we go. 1%. Nice.
Phoenix and Florida be Ed Jovanovski.
Okay.
Ed Jovanovski.
I think he was captain of Florida for a little bit. Yeah.
Yep.
Red Wing and Canadian.
Oh, Petrie. Petrie.
Yeah, Petrie. Yep. Jeff Petrie.
Yeah.
There we go. Capital.
I'm trying to think who we got. I was thinking Thomas Fleischman. No, that was Colorado. No.
Is Datsuk technically a Coyote?
Yeah.
His contract. Yeah, I don't know if it'll put it there.
That'd be ran. Yeah, that would work. Yeah, for sure. He was traded there.
Yeah. I don't know. The only thing is, okay, yeah. So it says must play one regular season or postseason game. Got it. Okay, so he never played.
Red Wings and Phoenix would be like
Robbie Fabry.
It'd be like a goalie, defenseman.
I don't know if Fabry did.
He was St. Louis. I know that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know St. Louis. I just don't remember if it was Coyote or not.
Was the other one Capitals in Phoenix?
Yeah, Caps in Phoenix.
Trying to think of the guys I played with there.
Yeah.
Bradley Steckel.
Red Wing Coyote. That's tough.
Trying to think of guys we played during playoffs. Not Bob Berry, not.
Capital. Huh.
Trying to think veteran. Brett Hull? No, he never played in Phoenix.
No.
Asenza, Bob Asenza, goalie. Well, I guess he was Winnipeg. Yeah, maybe Asenza. Try that one.
For Red Wings?
Yeah, Red Wings in Phoenix. ESS.
There we go. Nice.
Is it Bob Asenza? Oh, yep. Boy. All right.
All right, we got one left.
Phoenix and Wash.
We could sweep this.
That's coast to coast. Phoenix and Wash.
Yeah.
Goalie wise. Arizona.
Did Mike Ribeiro play for the Coyotes?
Probably. Dallas. I know he's in Dallas for a long time.
Yeah, Nashville.
Ribeiro could be Nashville too. Yeah. Ribeiro. Brian Savage. That was Philly and Arizona. I'm trying to think some of their alumni that live out there.
Yeah.
Brad May.
Oh, Dylan Strome.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's a new guy. Yeah.
There we go.
Oh,
got a 56. That's not bad.
Uniqueness 56. There we go. Got it.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Right.
You were flying through that. Some of those are hard for me. I can't.
In the beginning, I was. But.
Yeah. Okay, Mike. We're so far we're 1 for 1 on PuckDoku. We'll see how it goes throughout the rest of the pod. But PuckDoku went well. Only thing I have left is trivia. We go through this each week. I asked Mike a trivia question about himself. Last week was the softball. That one you had right away. I don't think you're gonna have this one right away.
Right.
This one is you played with Peter Forsberg for 2 seasons, 2005, 2006, and then 2006, 2007. You scored 58 goals combined in those 2 years.
Right.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
So in those 2 years with the Flyers, you had 58 total. How many did Peter assist on?
58. Oh, got to be about half of them. What's half of 58? 29. So I'd say yeah, somewhere between 20 and 29. I wouldn't say he got all. I wouldn't say it's 50%. It's probably somewhere 40. Probably probably 25-ish, something like that. Take a couple from 29, probably 25-ish or something. I'd say 25. If that many. What is it?
24.
24? Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Well, I just went half, and then I kind of went a little less than half. All right, 25.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
It always feels like more, when you think back, you're like, but then like they had that chronic ankle stuff. They couldn't figure it out. It ended up being like a tendon between his 2 bones, and it was a shame. I wish it was more than that, but that's pretty good though. That's not bad.
It is.
Respectable.
That right there, that's 41.3%.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty respectable. I'll take that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's fair for a guy who, obviously he was at like kind of the tail end of his career, but and I obviously you guys were so dominant with Gagne and that line and everything. So yeah, that rounds out.
It's a special group. I wonder how long it would have stayed together if
I know
if he would have stayed healthy. I wonder, like Paul would have like extended him again or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think he liked it in Philly. I don't think he was in a real hurry to go anywhere else, but
right.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see if they would have how much more that could have run out.
Yeah.
Then you're bringing
how many more games you guys could have got out of the
Deuces? Yeah. What's that?
Yeah. Said how many more games you guys could have got out of the Deuces Wild line?
Yeah. That if we were any good, and then whose coach us Hitch was, and then Johnny Stevens took over, and so maybe if Johnny would have liked us still, it would have been. I don't know, but interesting. I never really thought about it before, but it would have been cool to see if he was healthy, how long that could have gone, how long we could have stayed together. But.
Right. You know what's funny about that line? I have that necktie that they gave away.
Yeah.
For
some reason they gave away necktie. We probably do in our stuff downstairs too. We got in storage somewhere for sure. That's wild necktie. That was great. That was great and bad, great and awful at the same time.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mike. Episode 2. How we feeling?
We're good. Yeah, we're good.
Good. Energized?
Next week. Yeah, energized. Yeah. Be in for next week. That's right. Yeah. And I'll watch games and everything. I'll try and watch some games, and stuff. So.
Mm-hmm.
Good idea.
It'll be fun. Yeah. Like we finally have hockey back, and we'll have actual games to talk about, not like glorified gong show rookie games. So it'll be fun. And, can't wait to do it next week.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody again for all support as always. Make sure to check out Kickin With Knuble across everything, Twitter, YouTube, and everywhere else. And we'll talk to you guys all again next week. See you guys.
Goodbye.